Hello everyone, Jessica here and welcome back to my channel. Today I get to play with some foils, some Gina K foils. I've never played with foils before, so I'm really excited and this should be a lot of fun. So these foils were in the Simon Says Stamp October card kit. You also get some of the Gina K foil mates. So they're like a card front with these really large, very pretty fall inspired designs, and they have like a resin that if you run it through the laminator, the foil will stick to that. So I'm just using the laminator that I have. This one I've had for quite a while. It's a purple cow. So I have cut the foil down and I tried to cut it with my paper trimmer, and that did work pretty well. I just had to make sure it was held down securely, and then I could use the guillotine and slowly cut it. It didn't work at all. It just kind of crinkled it up when I tried to cut it real fast. So I'm going to do some paper, well, not really paper piecing, but some foil piecing, I guess. So I have it inside of a parchment paper folder that I made. And this is just kitchen parchment paper that I have. And then I have a sheet of copy paper underneath. And I set that foil mate with the foil on top. I sped this up a little bit so it doesn't take quite as long, but I did run it through twice and that did work pretty well. You can see it's really pretty, and this is the JellyBean Green foil. I noticed there was a few places where there was like some loose foil, so I used my makeup brush. I use this brush for a lot of different things, but I used that to gently wipe away that foil. So now I have a piece of the red velvet foil, and I'm going to use this card front that has the 3 different leaves on the left side, and I'm using my phone flashlight as a way to see where that mark of the leaf is. That way I could get these 3 different colors that I'm going to use centered enough to where they won't hit any of the other leaves or that sentiment. So for the last 2 leaves, they're pretty small. I just used my scissors and cut out chunks of foil, and then I can place those in the folder. And I do always run those through twice. I heard that was a good tip. I think copy paper might not have been the best choice. Probably something a little more substantial would have been better to use, just to make it thicker. So I have all these loose pieces of foil now, and I have these small Ziploc bags. So I'm going to just place those in those bags. That way they're kind of separated from the bigger sheets, and all the colors are stored together because I like to organize everything. So for the bigger one, that sunflower one, I used the gold sequins foil. You could see a lot of the speckled black from that resin in the back, like the foil didn't stick securely to it. I think maybe using a thicker cardstock probably would have helped, but it's something that I will get to play with because these were a lot of fun and they're very simple to make. So going back to that 3-leaf one, I'm going to use some colored pencils, and I do have those listed on my blog and down below. And I'm just going to use some really bright fall colors. The top one will be red, the middle one will be green, and the bottom one is orange. And I use the same yellow to blend out those colors for all 3. So these cards are also in response to Stephanie from Cornerstone Create. She challenged a bunch of us on her Instagram to do a no stamp card. It's been fun to see how other people interpret that challenge, and she went a completely different route than what I have done, and I think it's a lot of fun, and I'll link to her video below if you'd like to check it out, and also to her Instagram post about it. I'm always up for a good challenge, so thank you so much for involving me in this one. So I decided to use some dies, and I have all the products that I'm using listed below, and I cut all of those foil mate card fronts with a couple different dies, and now I have all these papers that I'm going to layer behind them. Each one is different. They'll all have kind of a different style. So for this 3-leaf one, I added the black and white stripes, and I just thought it gave it a very modern kind of a look. I love a good black and white stripe. And for this one, I went ahead and used the blue velvet cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. I really liked it with that gold sequins. And this one I really like. So this one has the JellyBean Green foil. And then I layered the Fawn Perfectly Plaid pattern paper behind it. I don't know. I just really like how that one turns out. Going back to the more modern looking one, I'm using some Morning Dew Nuvo drops. I'm going to make some rather large drops on this card. And a couple tricks for Nuvo drops that I've found that I like to share is when you get the size of Nuvo drops that you want, when you go to pull up, make sure that you release the bottle of the Nuvo drops. And that just kind of sucks up that last little bit of the material. That way it doesn't make a strong point, like a Hershey Kiss point. It'll give you a bit more of a rounder drop. I hope I'm saying that right. If you have questions, let me know. So after that, I'm going to gently tap the card. That way it flattens out those Nuvo drops a little more. And then I'm going to use a Post-it note and add a bit of that to the Post-it notes so I can dip my embossing stylus into that and create really small little Nuvo drops. And you'll see this better with the black that I'm doing now. This is the ebony black. So I've squeezed out some on the Post-it notes. I'm using the smaller end of this embossing stylus. I'm dipping it into the Nuvo drops on the Post-it note and then tapping that end onto the card, and it creates these really small, almost a perfect circle of little Nuvo drops. And I think that's a lot of fun. It's hard to get those small ones with the actual bottle of the Nuvo drops. So this was my solution for that. This is a old Fiskars embossing stylus. They don't carry this one anymore, but I do have one that is pretty similar to this one in size. And Simon Says Stamp does carry like 4 different sizes. So they have an extra small all the way up to a large. And they're only like a couple bucks a piece. So something to look at. I do have that listed below also. If you're interested, it's under Embossing Stylus. For the foil mate that I paired with the Fawn Perfectly Plaid paper, I'm going to use some Ink Road gems. And this was actually a gift that was sent, that Laura sends with her packages. So it was a recent order. It was actually an order that I had just got when I went to check the mail, because I did part of this video in the morning and then went and did a bunch of stuff, saw a movie with my sister, and then came home and checked the mail and got these gems. And I was like, wow, these are so perfect for this card that I'm making. So I had to crack into them and pull out 3 just to use. And there's this perfect blue, pink, and a green one that match so well with the colors in that Perfectly Plaid pattern paper. And they have a very flat back, so I just use multimedia matte glue and adhered them to the card, and I love the way they look. And I love the little jar they come into. It's super cute. Onto the third card, I just left it alone. I thought the whole thing was pretty big with all that foil and that bright blue color. I just left it. I really like the way all 3 of them look. If you have a favorite one, let me know in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed this little preview of me using foils for the very first time. It was fun. And I can't wait to play with these again. So that's it for me. And here's a few more pictures. I hope you enjoyed today's video. You can connect with me on Instagram or email me directly or comment below with any questions you might have about card making. All the products I used today are linked on my blog. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to see the latest videos from me. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Meh, meh.